Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to From the Depths with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome back to our little fortress. In today's episode, as you can probably tell by the title, we are having a half episode, meaning not much is really going to happen to further the campaign, but I do want to test out a couple of things. Well, one thing in particular, and maybe some smaller things as time goes on. So the thing I really want to experiment with is having a sub-vehicle spawner on the fortress, to have a vehicle which is there only for healing. If this works out well, and if it actually looks decent, we could start adding them to the spires we're going to be building very soon, thus enabling them to heal the top section very easily, and thus make them an incredible nuisance to actually deal with. Cheap, affordable, and annoying. It's going to be the ultimate item. So as you can also see, I've just destroyed the middle section, meaning right now we're not actually harvesting resources. So let's fix that nice and quickly. Where are you? There we are. And I'll just put those over here for now, and we'll replace them somewhere else a little bit more dedicated later. So the reason why I'm doing this type of video today is, as many of you probably... Wow, that was smart. As many of you probably know at the moment, I am actually going back to England on Thursday, probably when this video actually goes live, because of my fiancé needing surgery. So sadly, I don't really have any time to stockpile From the Depths footage, at least normal episodes, because it just takes far, far too long. So to counter this, we're going to just quickly have a bit of fun right now. So a nice easy episode so that there's a little bit of From the Depths still on the channel, and that's going to be ridiculous and far too much oil, but oh well, there we go. Let's continue. So we're going to want the item, the new vehicle, somewhere in the center, and yes, I will be replacing all of this wood very soon with metal as soon as I have enough resources and we're not constantly under attack. So it's kind of a lower priority. It looks a bit weird, it looks stupid, honestly. We've got all these engines attached to the side which just don't need to be there anymore. We're getting more and more power as time goes by using the RTGs, but until we have those, we're just going to keep these engines there. And yes, I should really learn to cancel the mirror mode. Just to fill in this, there we go. Behold my magical powers of filling! One of the least useful superpowers, it must be said, but even so, a superpower is a superpower no matter how weak. Okay, there we go. So we've got this nice little metal section here. We're going to do the same just under here very, very quickly. And actually, I want to test something else out. New objects, spin block. Just put that there. Can you attach the no, not the sub-vehicle spawners, but can you attach, MISC, the docking stations? Oh, excellent, which means we can actually have them spinning. So if we want more than one of them, we can have them kind of spinning in an area. That would be really, really cool. Well, let's just go ahead and quickly do this. Here, there we are. Metal goes down here, metal goes around. We click into the metal we've already put down, and therefore we now have a nice metal box. Just need to do the flooring, and then that'll all be done. The problem is, though, we are increasing the block count constantly with this fortress, which is going to make it so difficult to actually get it into combat. As we saw in the previous full episode, it was just a nightmare actually trying to get this thing into a fight when we want to have other vehicles in as well. Okay, let's go ahead and finish off that. Okay, there we go. We now have the metal box. So what we need to do next then is actually add the docking station itself. We can add the sub-vehicle spawner somewhere else just to make sure we don't spawn it in here all the time. Or we could actually have it in here and just make sure the settings are so it spawns into the air before coming back down. So, it's been a while since I've done this, as you can probably tell. We want the docking station, there we are, and I guess we can just have the sub-vehicle spawner here. We just need to make sure, like I say, that it's definitely facing the right way, which I think should be there. And spawn distance, let's just have it somewhere ridiculously high, it doesn't really matter too much. So now, once we build a vehicle, we can have it floating in midair in the middle of the fortress, which will be really, really cool, at least, in my opinion. Also, I think I'm going to call this episode something like a From the Depths mini, or something like that. Okay. So, new objects, let's move out a little bit more, and put this here, vehicle, plonk, we have a piece of wood, okay. Now, we're going to keep it just as this for a second. I know it's a bit silly, because I want to make sure we can see the the diameters of this as we build it. So where is the block? There is the block. Excellent. So where do I want to put this? How low do I want to put this? Yeah, about there. Okay, that's reasonable. And then the sub-vehicle spawner as well. Let's actually attach it together so it's now part of the blueprint. That's curious. Interact with the sub-vehicle spawner and assign a fleet to this mothership. Force selector. Only non-flagship forces... Oh, okay. They need to actually become a fleet together first. So that that's no longer a flagship. Confirm sub-vehicle, and there we are. So now when that spawns in, well, when our fortress spawns in, this little block section will spawn in as well. At the moment, of course, that's not how we want to actually end this, though. And this is really, really off to the center. Okay, how do we do this again? How do I make it so it's always at one angle, a specific angle? I think it's in the docking station, although you can also use the origin block, if I recall. Hello. There we go. So that should always be facing upwards now, so building should be a little bit easier. Excellent. So the easiest way of doing this, because we can of course use the resources from the fortress itself to do this, is we could just start slapping on a load of healing tentacles. Where are you? You are somewhere. Repair tentacles, there we are. Because repair tentacles are just so much better than the standard repair bots, because they have a much longer range and just act a lot faster. Also, a lot more reliable, I've noticed. They always do their job, whereas sometimes the actual repair bots you can put onto a single ship just doesn't really do the job correctly, at least from what I've seen. I actually did something very similar to this a few seasons back, which was called Pod, and there's the two forces getting ready to attack me. As you can probably tell, this is before the bug that happened last time, which caused me to end the episode early. Sadly, that bug actually was so bad I had to restart the save from an earlier save, which was an absolute nightmare, it has to be said. Now, what do we do? Do we have this really cheap and really small like I'm doing now, or do we go a bit more lavish and perhaps even add protecting elements to it? I think just something small like this, and then with some lights on it and stuff, that's all we really need. So, light fitting, here we go, and there we go, and let's have it, I think blue. Blue seems more healy to me, honestly. And increase the intensity, and increase the intensity, there we go, and do the same at the bottom as well. No, yes. There we are, we have a little heal thing. Now, to make sure this actually works, I'm going to quickly go ahead and save the fortress as it is now. Save vehicle. If it wants to work, that would be glorious. Fishing hole 2, let's call it. There we go. And we're going to go into the sandbox mode so we can test it in a more uniform manner, in an easier way. Okay, there was probably a bit of a jump cut there, because I completely forgot that both of these would also need to be on the same supply group. Now they are. As we can see, we do a bit of damage, and now we're actually getting resource from the fortress to actually heal everything else. I completely forgot that's how it worked, but even so, as we can see, the healing is really good. This is going to help out a lot. And we could have multiple of these. We could have them underneath the fortress. We could have them in a protected box if we really, really wanted to. It just means it's adding a lot of extra protection. Although, of course, it will cost us to do these repairs. So defense is definitely better, but being able to respond with a lot of healing if we need it is still a very, very valuable resource. So now I've done all that, we're going to save the vehicle again, just to make sure it's all definitely saved, and we're going to go into the sandbox mode to just see how we heal, because I'm not really in the mood to test out my new healing skills against all of these forces yet again. Once again in the lovely sandbox mode. So, let's turn off all of the AI just to make sure we don't kill any opponent too quickly. Let's turn off all of these silly lions, and let's spawn in something nice and weak just to see the healing in action. So, how about a couple of marauders? We always test our damage on the marauders. Now we can allow the marauders to hit us, and we can test our healing against their damage. A little bit of revenge for bullying them all these years. Come on, marauders. Shoot us with your main cannon, that'll be helpful. They seem to have a very slow reload time on their main weapon. There we go. Okay, a breach in the outer wall, and here comes the healing. And as we can see, it's pretty darn quick. You really managed to hit my main ammo reserve. Damn it, Marauders. Let's turn off our healing, that's not fair, there we go. Healing the ammo reserve there. 2 more hits. To be fair to them, to the Marauders though, their cram cannons are not exactly weak. And that's a lot to heal though. Yeah, we still haven't fully fortified our ammo reserve yet, so being hit there was really, really unfortunate. Even so, let's just watch the healing. So this is the speed of the healing. Currently, I'm not healing, and there's no repair bots down here, so there's none of that healing either. This is completely from that tiny little prototype drone. That's not exactly slow. That's actually fantastic. So I think this is definitely an idea I want to do more of in the future. I also love the idea of sub-vehicle spawners. The Twin Guard do it really, really well, having whole vehicles which are actually made of like 4 or 5 components. A turret can be its own vehicle and stuff like that. I think that's something I really do want to experiment more with in the future, but I'm afraid I'm actually all out of time already, hence why this is called a From the Depths mini. Don't worry, From the Depths will be back next week, I'm just not sure when exactly. Like I say, I'm currently in England for my fiance's surgery, so it'll be however long it's going to be. When we get back though, we're going to start working on doing the final defenses for the fortress so that we can be a bit more aggressive attacking the enemy. So let's just quickly do this before I forget though. Painting mode, why not? And I'll also do this in the campaign. Look, now everybody's happy, because of course when you respawn it will all turn brown. A little bit tired, speech is going right now. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any suggestions for this type of idea or how I should use this in the future, then please leave it in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that From the Depths is a series you wish to see continued in the future. Next time, a full episode. Thank you again.